Yeah, I just wanted to drop in a little video tonight, and uh, I hope that you all had a great holiday season this year, Christmas and New Year's, and uh, but I'm putting this video up because we're in a bad spot right now, and we have some serious problems going on in this country. We have a president that is going out of office, a lame duck, and he's just gone berserk. And so I just want to talk about a few of the things that are going on that affect all of us. And one thing that I wanted to mention, I go to a lot of the forums here on Facebook and other places, and I see people that just don't want to talk about politics. And you know what? I don't blame you, because I think we're all tired of politics. But I look at it a little bit different way than that. I don't look at it so much as politics as the fact that we're getting robbed and getting everything stolen from us in this country. And there are things that we need to talk about. Not only do we need to talk about them, but we need your support to help overcome them. We need people to understand what their constitutional freedoms are, both at a federal and a state level. You need to understand that the government is no more than a group of people that have been put there by us voting them into office, and they are our employees. This is a country that is by the people, for the people. And until the government understands that, we need to keep pushing forward, and we need to keep putting them in their place. So what I want to talk about tonight is a couple things that the president has done here recently that are just damaging, big time. We could start with what he did over in Israel. Israel has been one of our biggest allies forever. And for those of you that are religious, I've heard it been said that there are only two countries in the world that God himself helped write the constitutions of those countries. One of them is Israel, and one of them is the United States. We need to not sit back and let that slip through the cracks, and we need to not let the leaders of our country be abusive towards Israel. They're a country over there that's in the middle of chaos, and all they're trying to do is protect themselves, their families, their way of life, just like we do around here in the United States. And the countries around them, they don't just want to go to war with them. They don't want to, to move them out off their property or whatever. They want them dead. They just flat out want them dead. And we need to help protect against that as a country, especially with people who are such good allies to us. And President Obama has just really dumped on them through United Nations. And another thing I want you to think about that, what if the United Nations come over here to the United States and they just made a resolution that we're going to give, let's say, the state of New York, that we're going to give it to some other group? I mean, come on. Wouldn't we all tell the United Nations to shove it? Seriously. And yet, that's kind of what they did over there. They just went over and said, you're not going to develop in this area, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. So we need to protect that. Another thing that Obama did, and there's still threat that he may do more, is passing the Bears Ear National Monument, both they're in Utah and down in Nevada. Now, I want you to think about something, okay? In Utah, they said that he made 1.3 million acres. 1.3 million acres into a national monument in Utah. And I hope that each of you can kind of get a scope of the massive size that is. If you put that into miles, that's 2,031 miles. Square miles, not just length, but if you put it out an acre wide, it would be 2,031 miles long. or not an acre wide, excuse me, at a mile wide. If you had a swath that's a mile wide, it would be 2,031 miles long. And then down at the Bundy Ranch, he also he set aside 300,000 acres down there, right on the Bundy Ranch. And so if you figure that up, that's 468 square miles right there that he set aside down at the Bundy Ranch. There's also a big threat up here in Idaho, where I'm from. Right now, there been some talk about putting the Onawee, if I could ever pronounce that correctly, area into a national monument. That's down in the southwest side of Idaho, and then also the Island Park area, which is up here where I live, just off from Yellowstone Park. Wanted to put that into a national monument. Well, I'm putting this out because of sportsmen. I've worked with sportsmen's issues for 25 years plus, and help keep the hunting heritage and trapping and fishing, our rights, our freedoms. But I want you to think about it. When they shut down or make that into a national park, then there goes the hunting off that area, there goes the trapping, there goes the fishing. There may be some limited camping in a campground area. They shut down all of the little roads that run through there, and you can only go on a designated road. And there may be some hiking trails here and there, but they're designated hiking trails. And in effect, what they do is they steal our property from us, and they give us a couple little breadcrumbs. Usually they make you pay to even go in there, and then you have to stay on designated trails. And no hunting, no trapping, no fishing in those areas. To me, I can see in setting things aside for future generations, but there's a different way to do it. And I will make a whole other video concerning that, because I see a lot of sportsmen's groups that are concerned about turning federal lands over to the states. They think that the states are just going to sell them off. But I'm going to tell you right now, what the crap is the federal government doing? Seriously. They are turning everything into wilderness areas, national monuments, and they're taking all this land from us. And there's a simple way to do that. Well, it's not going to be simple, because there'll be a big fight, but that land needs to be turned over to states, but the people of each state need to pass a constitutional amendment in that state, in their state constitution, concerning that land, and make it so it's off limits for their senators and politicians in that state to sell that land. And that would solve a bunch of that issue right there. And so I don't understand the drive from some of these groups to not have that land turned over, because the federal government's doing the very thing that they're accusing that the states would do. And it's all just kind of a ploy, as far as I'm concerned. The last thing I want to talk about, which is also something that has me very concerned right now, I see a lot of sportsmen and conservative groups. They're kind of excited about Donald Trump being put in office. And to me, right now, that's a big concern too, because just in the last day or two, President Obama declared, I don't know where he had authority, but he claims he does, to turn the election over to the federal government, put it under Homeland Security or wherever he's planning on putting it. Now, the problem with that is they're pushing hard to have that done before inauguration. Are they going to try and overturn, Donald Trump's inauguration that's coming up? I don't know. I don't know if they will or not. Hopefully things transition smoothly. Hopefully Trump can get in there. But one thing I want to tell you about Trump, I think Trump has some good ideas. I don't agree with everything that he has, and I don't know that everybody does, but that's politics. But in order for him to do his job, you got to understand that he's crippled. In other words, there's only so much that he can do, even being the President of the United States. And we, the people, need to get behind the good issues. And we need to push those good issues, and we need to take back our freedoms. We need to take back our rights. And the best way to do that is to read the Constitution and Bill of Rights of the United States and study that, and pick up your Constitution for your state. And you will find that our governments are very limited in their power and their scope. They really don't have that much authority. But what's happened over the years is, just like they give themselves a pay raise, they also give themselves power and authority. And you know what? It's all a facade. It's all fake. They really don't have that power, and they don't have that authority because they did not have the authority to give themselves that authority in the first place. And so I want to link up with this video, another video from reporter John Stossel. It's called "Everything's Illegal," and I want you to, if you get a chance, and that's like 42 minutes long. I know it's kind of long, but I want you to really think about what our government's doing. You know, there's one incident in there, and it's not just the federal governments. Our state and our local, our cities have just gone completely array. They are not dictators. They're not there to pass unconstitutional laws or infringe on our rights. They're a manager, for crap's sakes. The United States president is a manager. He's there to manage the affairs of the United States. A mayor of the city is only there to manage the affairs of that city. He's there to work out problems, and he's there to help make things run smoother. And yet I see just unbelievable things going on. Just want to give you one example before I go. The Boston Tea Party. Okay, that what was that about? Well, there was some the British who sold tea to the Americas put an import tax on them. They put another tax on them, I believe, when they were sold. I don't know all the details on that. So basically, you had this tea that had two taxes on it. And the people got upset and went out to the harbor and dressed as Indians, and they threw all this tea overboard as a protest. Well, just think about just a couple things here, okay? If you buy a piece of property, for instance, and you pay sales tax on that property, and you pay a tax assessment on that, well, that's double taxation. Then if you own that property for 50 years, you pay taxes on it 50 times. That's a little bit more than double taxation, is it not? Same thing with a car. You buy a car, you got to pay a registration fee, you've got to pay sales tax, that's a double taxation. And then you have to pay a registration fee on that every year that you own it. That's another tax. So if you own that car 20 years, you're paying taxes on it 20 times. That's how far out of line our government is. And that's just one very small example. And so I hope that you have time to watch this other video. I'm trying to link up with this. And I hope that you really think about what's going on in America, because I would really like to see the people go forward and start taking back their country. And I am seeing that a little bit, and it's exciting. The more that we get dumped on, it seems like people are starting to wake up. But is it too late? And why have they made everything illegal? Well, it's so that they can control us. If if everything you do is illegal, well, then they can come in and give you fines and put you in jail. Is that right? Well, everybody's like, well, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Well, watch the video, because it don't matter if you're law-abiding or not. They can find something you're doing illegal. So, all right, thanks.